Hey everyone, how's it going? Octopus here and welcome back to evercrisis. We're going to be talking about guild weapons. Finally, I know this video was supposed to be out before, but I'm going to run through each one, what it does, where it belongs, and if it's even worth investing in. First major advice is don't use them until you need them. It's really, really important that you guys shouldn't be polling, shouldn't be upgrading anything, or using your exchange items until you really need to. So the idea is that you run into a guild battle, a dungeon ranking, anything that's not permanent content. So EX2 Ramu, that doesn't count. That's there forever. Eventually you might pull for something. Anniversary might help you with that, but you shouldn't waste a bunch of resources to beat content that's always there no matter what. The only time that makes sense is that if you need Ramu level 10 in order to do better in the dungeon ranking, then that works hand in hand, but you should never go out of your way spending your guild exchange items, vouchers, jewels for content that's permanent. Only make this decision when you are ready, and it's very important that you want to make top 10, top 100, or something. So first thing about guild weapons is don't use it until you need to. And currently I have 750. I can OB7 a weapon. That's what you're looking forward to when you do these weapons. If you OB7 it at the proper level, you're going to get a big boost to its R abilities when it comes to magic defense up and physical defense up to the entire party. That is my number one A rank weapons. And then to go with what's A plus is that, do you use that character? Is that character on your team? If they're not on your team, you're going to bring it in for a sub weapon on any character, so then it doesn't matter, but you should go for characters that do have it. So what am I talking about? There is three, I would say probably just two. There's two R abilities in this entire thing that matter. There's three of them, but they're both defenses. One is ATB boost. I think this is useless as of now. It's going to be niche in certain fights where you need to cast your ability right away before the enemy, like Shiva, where she silences you. Get your magic defense up before that happens, lower the attack, right? In moments like that, yes, this will come in clutch, and usually they come with some kind of resist, like fire resist, right? I'm gonna move myself to the top left so you guys can see this a little bit better. But realistically, ATB boost is very, very not necessary, and when you mix it with the defense, what you're doing to your build when you're building Cloud is that you're missing on boost attack potency, physical attack up, anything. You're missing so much R abilities that it almost doesn't fit, because the rest of your build is going to lack in damage in order to get 1600 physical attack. And then on top of it, no boosted limit in some engages when using this ability. Now, am I saying that if you get this at OB10 and you fully use it with the proper build, that you've somehow squeezed all the R abilities in there to complement it? No, this is going to do tons of damage. Don't get me wrong, but going for OB10 on this right away is crazy. In my opinion, any weapon in here should only be OB6 right away, right? 1320 is still very respectable, but the nail bat, in my honest opinion, is not a priority, just because, again, it doesn't give you proper R abilities. One of them is kind of dead. It's only good for that first turn, and during that first turn the attack gauge isn't full, so it doesn't matter. It's only good on a utility character, someone that's going to raise defense or lower the enemy's attack or something like that. Besides that, on a damage dealer, that is a dead R ability. R ability number two that really matters here is physical defense all and magic defense all. These are the priority weapons. There is 4 characters that run physical and 4 characters that run magical. Barrett has one physical, Zach has another physical, Glenn has the other physical, and then Lucia has a physical. This is incredibly strong. There's going to be a meta that if you guys work on Highwind, get the costumes that raise your defense, the Sunkissed ones that by 15%. Vincent currently has a new one, does 15% magic defense up. You mix that with Highwind boost, this defense all, the costume, plus materia, and R abilities in the back of your weapons, you can create a meta where HP doesn't have to be above 10,000, or it could be at 10,000, and you can take very little damage, which works with the attacks that go, hey, I need low HP in order to do more damage. Right? Having high defense lets you survive attacks, and then abilities like regen really kick in and do very good. Not only that, just having more defense in all the fights in the game is incredibly powerful. So the idea is that you want to get OB7 on these weapons, not OB6. OB6 will give you 27 points, which is not enough here. 27 points will drop you down. If you're main handing this, it's fine, but if you're off handing this, which I do recommend to do, like those limit break weapons, you're going to want 15 points. And in order to get 15 points, OB7 is what's going to get you that 30. And then off that 30, we'll get 20% up. If you have one of these on the healer and one of these on the support DPS, you're raising everyone's defense by 40%. With a high wind, costumes, and materia mixture, that becomes very, very tanky characters. So, priority to me when it comes to all these abilities, the R abilities make a difference. The magic ones are going to be Aerith, Red 13, Kate Sith, and Matt. They all have the magic defense version, right? Some of these are going to look very, very good because of Ramuh EX2. This has boost lightning resist, magic defense up for the entire party, and it removes physical defense up. That screams Ramuh fight like crazy. Aerith has the same kind of idea here. Lightning resist, boost magic defense for everyone, and it also removes physical attack down on a character and gives them a heal of 108%. It's single target, right? Some of these look better than others. Where Red 13's, he does 540 non-elemental to all enemies and removes magic defense up. He's got boost ice, magic defense up, so good against Shiva. You can see there's a theme here going on depending on who you're facing and what's happening. You're going to see a fire one, an earth one when the Titan summon comes out, but that is priority number one. Magic defense up, physical defense up. Is it a character you use? And if not, might use in the future / you're going to use it for a back weapon. So talking about these individually, if you guys want to use them for setups, I would prioritize in a couple things. So to explain the rest of the video, I'm going to give you guys a sort of ranking of what is the best and what is kind of meh. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. Everything at the top row has magic defense all R ability. Second row has physical defense all R ability. And no matter what the weapons do, in a sense of R ability ranking, these are priority. Whatever character that's on your team and you use and you have costumes and other weapons for is the weapon you go for. If you play with Matt, Matt's weapon's great. If you play with Aerith, Aerith's weapon's great. If you're a Red 13 main, use that. Zac, Barrett, so on and so on, right? They're also ranked left to right because stuff like, technically Red 13 should be ahead of Aerith, and I'll explain why in a second, but Kate Sith is RNG, where these are guaranteed removals, which ignore enemies' immunities, saying like, you can't do this to me, this fixes that. Same thing over here, left to right. These are damage dealing weapons that have the defense on it, but it's easier to do Zac's full max potential versus Barrett's max potential. And again, down here, I'm going to explain why Tifa's alone in B and these are down in C. So visually, this is the idea. What is each weapon and why do I have it ranked like this? Well, starting off with the magic ones, Matt's weapon has the ability to remove physical defense up on the enemy. It also has an all cure in the back and that magic defense up. With Ramuh's current quest, this looks very, very good because of boost lightning. After Ramuh, you're just looking at the boost magic defense all, right? So what makes Red 13 and Matt's weapon priority for actually doing it besides the R ability is that it removes physical defense up. It doesn't debuff the enemy, it removes it. So that gives it the opportunity for any enemy that says, hey, you can't debuff me. Matt goes, nah, pull it off. Same thing with Red 13, right? Red 13, he does the other version, which is magic defense up. He just goes, I remove that. I don't care if you're immune to debuffs. It's gone, while also applying magic defense and boost ice for Shiva. A lot of these weapons have earth resist, wind resist, ice resist, fire resist. They're to help you with the summon fights. A lot of these weapons are going to be utilizing the summon fights, fighting Shiva EX2, Ramuh EX2, Leviathan EX2. These weapons really are there. These are kind of mini limit break weapons for each character, because if you look at the weapon, the limit break does that, just better, and these do it in weapon form. Not as strong, but still very, very useful. So that's why those two are priority, and then Aerith is priority because of the R ability with all cure and having a single target 108% potency cure while also removing physical attack down and magic attack down on an ally. The reason that this is okay is because, yes, being able to remove a debuff is great, but a buffing weapon like the Monster Hunter weapon that does 3 tiers of physical attack up You just cast that twice and boom, you have physical attack up. One removes it and the other one ups it. Where this removes it and then you have to go ahead and apply it up afterwards. So kind of redundant using this ability just for that, but it has a heal with it, making it better than just buffing. So if you need to heal and remove a debuff at the same time, very, very good. If not, you're bringing it in for the all cure and that magic defense up. But again, still priority over the other weapons that are magic defense up. And that's because Kate Sith's weapon revolves around RNG. You get physical attack AoE for everyone, only mid, not high, and magic attack at a 20% success rate. So Kate Sith's ability, RNG, if it does apply, that's really good for limit breaks and summons. They get power from both your physical and magical, and he does have a circle sigil in the back, but compared to the other three in the magic defense department, they win. Now, when it comes to physical, the way I have this chart set up, I have Zac in front of Barret and then these two. And the reason being is that all their abilities are S tier, but they rank a little bit different. Zac being top priority because he has 400% times 3 if you're at max HP. So as long as you're 100%, you're going to be doing 1200 physical non-elemental damage that can crit. Right? He's also got X Sigil in the background, very strong, and then he's got that boost fire for the Ifrit fight and defense for everyone. Now, there is thresholds to HP when it comes to low HP and high HP. It should be 100%, right, is for these higher HP ones, or 80 or higher. So it's either 80, 50, 30, or it's 100, 50, and then 30 is your bottom one. I'm pretty sure it's 80 and higher counts as max HP, and then 50 is in between, 30 is the low point, or something close to that. I could be wrong, but I know 30% or lower is what you need to do those low HP ones. But because you're always constantly healing, Zac is the stronger one of the three. And then you've got Barret coming in second because he does go up to 1500 physical, but he has to be at that 30% or lower HP for that minimum. Max times 3, meaning that there's probably a times 2 and a times 1. And again, 500 is probably max HP. And then you get times 2 at 50%. And then you get times 3 at 30%. So this is really good. Circle Sigil in the back. And then the other two, Glenn has 700%. The lower your HP times 2. So 1400. Not as strong as Barret's, but just there. And that's why it's in third. Has X Sigil. And it's got water for Leviathan. And then Lucia's last because Lucia only increases command gauge, which is good against enemies with dread. And other situations might turn up, but that's very niche at the moment. And it's only 620 non-physical damage for 4 A2B. Doesn't seem really worth it. Triangle Sigil though, but again, that's why it's in 4th place. Now, for the rest of them, why they're in the bottom, we'll get there because Tifa is next with her glove, and the reason she gets her own category is because this can be very useful in both situations. Even though our abilities aren't great, she does have an X Sigil in the background. She raises her own physical defense for 35 seconds and physical attack high for 35 seconds while also slightly healing herself. All these weapons, when it comes to the damage dealing weapons as well, you got to keep in consideration you're missing 100 damage to either physical or magical, and that makes up a big difference when you start applying high wind percentage up, our abilities percentage up. You lose a lot because of that 100 missing. Nothing too crazy to worry about, but it's something to worry about. So besides that, this is your little bit poor man version of self buffing. The only problem with self buffs now is that Aerith has showcased that she can AoE party. Yuffie has it. Kate Sith now has an AoE. Technically, Yuffie has it, but you don't have to buff your healer. So you buff Yuffie and you buff someone else, right? Her Arctic Star. So the idea of your DPS buffing themselves only is not really good, but in a situation where you have to raise defense and physical attack at the same time because it's being single targeted by Bahamut's single attack, this is really good, right? Again, good against Shiva because it boosts ice, but that's why it has its own category. It does have bad R abilities, but its a C ability is actually pretty good. Now, when it comes to the rest of them, they're in C tier, and this is the reason they're in C tier. Starting with Cloud, we already talked about it. He's got 1600 damage. Even though you're not going to limit break, if you have a very powerful high attack tier Cloud, 1600% that can crit is a very cool weapon, right? Circle Sigil there. Again, these R abilities will kill part of your build, but if you can manage it, it works out. Next up, we have on that tier list, let me just double check. It goes Yuffie, Vincent, and then Sephiroth. Now, Yuffie's are attack here is 500% single enemy with a crit. The higher HP goes to ×2. That's 1,000. It doesn't have a sigil break, which kind of hurts it, but that's pretty easy to get 1,000 percentage if you want to do that. Then we got Vincent's over here. He has 700% critical, and only when an enemy's debuffed, it'll get 1.5. Again, enemy being debuffed is pretty common, pretty easy, while also increasing his limit break, but no sigil break in the back. So, giving him a top priority when it comes to that. None of this matters because in the end, you guys should be prioritizing the characters you use. But just in case you want some sort of ranking for this is the reason. Next up, we have Sephiroth, who does have a triangle sigil, so he does take top priority. He's got 700% physical, and with command gauge max, he'll get 1.5. So as long as your red triangle is at max, he'll be doing top damage. So he's actually the one that's supposed to be at the top. Let me just correct that real quick. He'll be somewhere like right there. Yeah, we'll do it like that. That's a little bit better, and most likely Cloud and Sephiroth switch. So just to change it around a little bit. Just because like having your attack stance max is great, sometimes it's just better to have that raw damage there from Cloud, so those two can go back and forth. But that's the general idea. If you are going to use those for damage dealers, you're just going for the character that you already have built and have the equipment to go with it. But that's the sense of all the R abilities and all the characters. And the final thing to wrap this all up, should you buy one of each weapon just for the joke of having your character equipped with that weapon? Yeah, why not? Foam sword on mat, poking people with a stick, have Red 13 wear headphones, right? A lot of cool weapons here to use. If you want it just for the skin, go for it. And the only other reason to get one of each is because of the high wind. I don't recommend this because the high wind's upgrade isn't something crazy. If you do unlock one of each weapon, which is just a 5-star version, it just boosts your magic of your C ability. Sorry, not your magic, your materia C ability. So only materia damage up. In order to get boost heal up, you have to get these weapons at OB6. So getting one of each weapon is just for the joke weapon. When it comes to the high wind, not really. Besides all that, that is literally everything I want to talk about. Hopefully this video has helped you out. Again, don't use it until you need to use it. Save it for dungeon rankings or guild battles. Best priority. Don't use it for permanent content like Ramu. Just not really worth it. Unless, again, they help for the other things. And then, of course, magic defense, physical defense up. Then go for the characters you use. Or if not, sub-weapons. And then whatever you really want to go for, honestly. Even though the R abilities and the ATB boost is kind of dead because it's only one cast and that's it from the beginning of the battle, the weapons themselves do a lot of damage. So if you want non-elemental builds, it does help for those situations where you don't have the proper element. So everything can work, but that's kind of like an idea of where to go for. Let me know what you think down below. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.